And that unfortunately, because this was rushed, and this was rushed, okay? Because of that, that has to be done after the actual grant package went in. All right, and I know that if I was sitting in your seat, I'd be just as upset as you are if one of my boards came in and did what we did to you. I absolutely agree with you. But the real question here is, does Dayton want a library? And if the answer to the question is yes, the avenue to a new library is through the MBLC, and we've taken step A. Now, before we get to step B, we need to learn how to walk better. We get the message from the Board of Selectmen, but you shouldn't give up on helping us get to step B until we have the input from the public. If the public doesn't like what we've created, then we get it.
You have to help me help you, though. That's why I need to be in the loop. So I will say that. And you did say now's the time for Dayton to decide on whether they need a library. Just remember that there's a specific library that goes on the warrant. So the question is, does Dayton want this library? And I think that's what you have to keep in mind. I think people knowing, for example, that the library that was proposed in the grant application is several thousand square feet bigger than the police station, that's going to be a problem, personal opinion.
Well, it's going to be a problem for the MBLC to accept a small library. And that means you're not going to get your half the money.
See, I
so
didn't
you're
know
not.
that.
Yeah. See, this is the part.
Right. We're learning.
This is the part. We've already gotten a waiver from the MBLC to reduce size.
How big is it now? What you submitted?
It's a monster.
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
13,000 square feet.
I just don't. I didn't bring my book with me because I came from the field today, and I apologize.
It's the current basement, the new areas of the library. Could it? I want to say it's an additional 8,000 square feet. Does that sound right, Dan?
It sounds right, but I'll get you all the numbers. I'll email all three of you the numbers.
Well, I assume the book is still in there.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it's gone?
Yeah. She dropped this off. But
Is this the same thing?
No.
That's a copy of the application. That's a complete copy of the application.
It is complete?
Why is it smaller than the other one? I'm just
Because
asking.
I didn't have a binder that size.
Okay.
Or copies of the documents that size.
I know the existing library right now is 3,000 square foot.
Just about, yeah.
So what is 12,900? Does that include the 3,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 10,000 roughly. Okay, I understand now.
Okay. Well, no sense of prolonging this right now. The only thing I'd like to interject is, I think your approach was a little backwards. Instead of us expecting an update of the whole project, we were just made aware of it.
That it's happening.
As far as what's happening. I think the people that you eventually expect to fund this should have been reached out to months ago and made aware of what we were just made aware of tonight. As far as size, potential costs, this just puts a sour taste in my mouth, and I only talk as one member of this board, that it was in such a hurry that this board was shown no courtesy of even taking a look at what was going on. So with that, I thank you for coming in, making us aware of what's going on, and I hope you stay in touch.
I think the next step should be for us to bring the architect in and do a full look at the design.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, new business. No new business. Any reports?
I can give you a brief report. Today I attended the annual meeting of MEGA, which is the Mass Educational and Governmental Unit that deals, it's a group of communities that self-fund and provide our workers' comp coverage. And there's one, it's not the general liability, but it's casualty insurance, okay? They really focus on workers' comp. We had to elect re-elect the directors. There were 3 directors. And they're from governmental units, either schools or towns or something. Kind of a formality. There were a couple of piddly, minute changes to bylaws, took care of that. But then there were presentations, and the one that I went to was on workers' comp. And the scenario was from the very first step, an employee gets injured on the job. And that probably sounds, well, doesn't everybody know you report the accident? But what happened was, we talked about an accident, a make-believe accident. And what happens, the report gets filled out, and where the report goes, and how it's processed at Mega. The person in our scenario was taken to the hospital with I think it was a back injury, and they talk about what happens when the person's in the hospital, about medical reviews, and then this person went for therapy and on an outpatient basis, and different steps along the way to, first of all, to try to get the person back to work, even if it's for part-time, as part of therapy to get the person back, because in our make-believe case, the back injury was one of those kinds of things that gets better with age. They didn't need back surgery, if you know what I mean. But you could go for physical therapy or other types of therapy. So we follow that all the way through. Then they talked about what happens if a person has a injury that prevents them from doing what their job was. Let's say that they operated heavy equipment, and the type of injury, even with medical treatment, surgery, therapy, whatever, they reached a point of wellness, but they were never well enough to go back to do that heavy equipment job. So then the next question would be, is there a job available in the company that this person can do? And for example, if this person had some IT skills, and the company could use somebody in IT, Mega has an employee assistance program, and they would have a counselor talk to the person, and based on the background, there are programs where the person could be sent for training. And again, in this case, in this second case we talked about, the person would go to a school and be able to learn, take IT training that would be covered as part of the rehab program, and they could return to work with the original employer, not as a heavy equipment operator, but somebody doing IT work. So those were the kind of things we talked about. They talked about investigations. They talked about how claims affect your premium. So if an accident happened this fiscal year, because it's late in the year, it probably wouldn't turn up in the FY18 rates. It would turn up in the FY19 rates because of the time and all that. And if you had a catastrophic illness where an employee was permanently disabled, paralyzed, or something like that, they talked about the time period that they would be carried, that it would affect your premiums, which is roughly a 3-year period. And then they talked about the reserve funds that are available to help pay for the services for that individual, which might be the rest of their lives, as far as income and possibly medication and treating complications that might arise in someone who was paralyzed, you know. So anyhow, it was very, very interesting. I met, there were people there from the area. There was a gentleman from Mansfield. I think he was the town administrator or manager. Lady from Rehoboth, somebody from Swansea, somebody from Seacon, all in the area I was in. And there were a number of insurance agents there too who offer mega products to communities. And it was well worth attending, very, very interesting. I mean, I think we're all familiar with if somebody gets hurt at work, even if they don't appear to be, you know, they fall down but then they get up again, you always report it. Send it to the insurance company, let the insurance company deal with it. But the importance of reporting even minor things where somebody says, oh, I'm all right, oh, thank, no, report it anyhow. It should be on file. Because the other thing is, if you don't report it, and you should have reported it, when you do report it, you're subject to fines for reporting it late, and there are also fees involved. And Mega sends that right back to the insured, the town, and says, or the school district, depending upon who they're representing, you're assessed these fees because you filed late. You've been fined by the state because you didn't file timely. So there was a lot of discussion about should you file a report if this happens. And my feeling was report everything, even if it's a paper cut, could get infected, just report it. The insurance company will have it on file. If down the road something develops from that, you're not going to get hit with fines and fees because you did report it. So, but it was good. There was a good crowd there, and we got started a half an hour late because I didn't have trouble until I got to 95. By the time, and I only had to go to a short distance, I got on at 495. And I was getting off at exit 9, I think it was, which was the Norwood exit. But all of a sudden, the traffic slowed right down, and all the lanes were full. And I stayed in the right lane because I was going to be getting off 95. The road got slick. And I was listening to the Boston and Providence stations, listening to the traffic. And I didn't have a problem except a great big car carrier came up the middle lane and got slightly ahead of me but didn't clear me. It was loaded with brand new Toyotas. I actually was going to Ernie Bach because it got off at Route 1. The cars were covered in snow and it was melting and coming off and it was hitting my car. And I mean, there was no way you could clean that vehicle. It's not like you can take it to the car wash. Every slot was filled. They all had melting snow. And even though the driver, we slowed to about 40 miles an hour, it's melting and it's coming off. So no matter which side of the road you were, the first or third lane, you were getting it. And that was a little unnerving because when it's coming at you, it looks solid, and you're hoping when it hits, it's going to splat, okay? Fortunately, it splatted. But then the traffic in his lane slowed up enough that he was behind me, thank goodness. But when I got off onto Route 1 and was going towards it was at the Sheridan in Norwood, he came up on my left side because he was going to make the left turn, and that's how I knew what dealership he was going to. But he was going into that dealership. But people that were coming from the north, we were a half an hour late, and some people, 15 people didn't show at all, and they said it was because of the weather. So it was, of course, we all heard about the big crash on 128, 50 some cars, and the road 95, you could feel it, and I think Route 1 was probably treated with something, but quite frankly, the interstates don't really get treated. You're better off on side roads, because if you're on side roads, local school buses are on, and the local towns take care of them. But overall, the information that came out of that meeting was really, really interesting, really good. There were 2 other workshops, and then we all got back together, and they were showing the system they have. They actually had a demonstration of a claim comes in, and this gets filled in, because you can do this online. But if paper ones come in, then somebody at the office fills in the blanks. I thought it was appropriate that the acronym for the form is ICE. ICE.
Makes sense.
Good day to
You won't
discuss.
forget that one.
Yes, it was a good day to discuss ICE, but yeah, that was a very good meeting.
Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you.
So if anybody slips and falls tonight,
Yeah.
if you're an employee.
We know the proper procedure.
Jim, do you have anything?
I don't, thank you.
You do? Or you don't? Next on the agenda, acknowledgements. We have an anonymous donation to the Council on Aging in the amount of $368.
Okay,
Oh,
Alice.
that's a
I'll
biggie.
entertain a motion to acknowledge that.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we acknowledge an anonymous donation to the Council on Aging in the amount of $368.
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Public input.
We got some public.
I just had a question.
Yes, sir.
I know it's kind of vague for you guys.
Do you mind coming up here? Nobody on camera can hear you. And if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Question, but sure.
No questions, stupid.
The big.
No, no, that's
big
not too, it's
6-0.
quick.
We made it?
The big 6-0.
Hi, 6.
Oh, okay, great. My question was for the Board of Health. Something in their duties mentioned septic. How is that going to vary from what the building inspector does? I thought I heard them mention the word septic.
We already have a septic inspection.
Joe Pacheco does a lot of that, but Mr. Aguirre is involved with septic permits.
Right, I just thought the Board of Health, I thought for the Board of Health duties they mentioned doing something with septic.
I think maybe what they were referring to was that having someone with septic knowledge sit on the board would be beneficial to the agents who served under that board. So I think that's probably what they were referencing in their description. But it does fall under the encompassment of the Board of Health. Title V, CMR, which is 310, does fall under the Board of Health. I just happen to have a lot of appointments in town. I'm also an agent for the Board of Health, agent for the Board of Selectmen.
That's all I had.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to state also, getting back to the Board of Health, and I probably should have said it back then, it is a small town, everybody knows that. Lots of people wear lots of hats in this town. Everything we have to do as the Board of Health is being done. And the only reason everything is being done without a separate Board of Health, without a health agent, without whatever else, is because
Thank you.
so many people have so many tasks and so many responsibilities. Like we said, it would be good to have a medical person on board. Well, that isn't the recommendation, but we do have a town nurse. We don't have a town doctor. We used to have a town doctor. Not a member of the Board of Health, but somebody you could call on for whatever. Mr. Aguirre, Mr. Bernardo, the ACO, who's also the inspector of animals, the Title V person. They have titles, but they're also agents to the Board of Health. That's a catch-all for everything. And that's how things in this town get done, and that's why I mentioned Mr. Ferry, because he's not per se an agent of the Board of Health, but in all honesty, I certainly don't have an engineering background that would deal with any of the issues that I raised tonight. And Mr. Ferry's not an engineer, but he's got the knowledge and he's got the background. So between what I know we have to do, what he knows should be done, we're able to put it all together. That's how the town is covered. So nothing is falling through the cracks, but it's because of the people we have doing the jobs who are willing to keep changing the hats, all right?
You have a lot of hats.
Right, and there are certain people in this town that, personal experience, when something comes up, even if it's not a hat that they happen to have. I'll go to him and say, Mr. Aggie has a prime example. I'll go to him and say, Jim, do you know anything about this? All right, or what about this? And somewhere, either he will find the information or he'll say, you know who can help you with this? And so that's how things get done. And maybe with this, when we can get a separate Board of Health, we will have streamlined. So the policy manual has not been done, but with the combined knowledge of everybody, that's why I say things aren't falling through the cracks, even though we don't have it all in writing. And our inspectors work well together, quite frankly. And with our public safety, because quite often, the calls that come in, and we did discuss this at the negative thing tonight, meeting today. How do you know when a person is actually on the clock for the town? I said, depends on who the person is. For example, if you're a member of the Board of Selectmen or Board of Health, it's 24/7. You're not working 24/7, but when you get the call at night, whether it's the local police, the fire department, the building inspector, the electrical inspector went out and called the other inspector, the state police, you can get a call any time of the day or night that there is a situation that any of those people can say, get the Board of Health here. And I remember it was an icy February. I did take a fall, but I had so many clothes on that I didn't get hurt. But it was spontaneous combustion in a old barn. That was not the problem because the fire department responded and put that out. But what they found on site relative to animals and conditions brought out the police department, the ACO, the electrical inspector because of the state of the building. I think you might have been there. Next day, in addition to all of that, we had MSPCA police officer here. I mean, this all started with a little spontaneous combustion that just was squirted out. It didn't even turn into anything, it was just a smoky mess. But that led to quite a situation. And it was February, it was cold, it was icy, it was dark, and but everyone that had to be there was there. So we do have coverage.
Yeah.
I didn't file an accident report either. But I'm trying to remember who the police officer was. I don't remember if it was Sean but I remember because I had on all these layers. My main concern was the camera I was carrying. You know, you don't want to drop the camera. You take a digger, but save the camera. But it was slippery, it was a little inclined, and I slid down gracefully, went right down my whole side where most of my padding was anyhow. So the police officer helped me up, and I said, no, I'm fine, where's my camera? The camera was okay too. But that's how it came about. We were discussing when you're on the clock and when it's a real workers' comp thing. So, anyhow.
Jack, did you mention open space or?
No.
Can I get another number?
No.
61. 61. I'm Jack Taylor. Just another request. We're trying to get the open space committee up and running again, and I've recruited 2 new members, but we could use a couple more. So if anybody's interested in open space, you can even keep in contact me. I'll talk to you a little bit about. You don't know what it is. I'll talk to you about what the committee is doing and what our mission is, if you will. So we really need good volunteers that are committed to keeping the town rural and preserving open space. So, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may, since Mr. Taylor reminded me, there are also vacancies on the Historical Commission, so if anybody is interested in not only preserving open space, as Mr. Taylor said, but also preserving our town history, there are vacancies. Your town is looking for you to serve.
Cemetery Commission?
Yes, thank you.
And
Development.
Industrial, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
4 committees.
Open space is the most important.
Of course.
And all these appointments, if you volunteered tomorrow and we appointed you next week, they will run till the end of June.
Yes.
So you can actually try them out for a few months and see if this is something you want to stay with. But in the meantime, in one case, the committee would finally have a quorum and be able to act on some issues. And you wouldn't be making a commitment of a year. You just get a chance to see what it's like, get your feet wet, try it out. But it would be a big help if you could step up. Cable's looking for people too, right?
Cable is,
Cable Commission and Cable
I can't even
Commission.
keep track right now.
Make a list.
Anybody else?
I have one question. Was there a meeting of the Land Use Committee?
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes.
Can you tell us anything?
Yep. Well, I'll tell you where we're at. Yeah, we had a meeting
Yesterday, was it?
We had a meeting yesterday, last night, and we finished looking at all the town-owned property. And what we had done in the last two meetings, we've gone through all the ones that the committee is recommending we dispose of. And these are mainly landlocked pieces, lots that were, taken for taxes or that kind of thing. So we made those recommendations. Our next step, Mary Hathaway is going through all of those to make sure we have good title to them. We're going to then talk to the Conservation Commission, Open Space, CPC, and probably planning. We have them look at all those pieces to make sure they don't have any use for them. And then after that's done, Mary will put together, we'll have the final list and Mary will set an option to get that moving. So, and we should have that done probably within 2 months. I think that's what's going to take care of everything. So, but the land use is pretty much set with that part of it. Then after we get that done, then we'll start looking at the Bs, which were the ones we think we just need to keep, and then the Cs are the ones we're looking at that we might want to see if we can expand. That's what open space will come up to look at that and see if they can maybe make a proposal to CPC. So,
okay, thank you. Before we adjourn, Mr. Chairman, all these, I just had hopefully a decent idea. Perhaps as we revamp the town website, we could set up like a vacancies page where we could post, what committees have positions available. I think that perhaps maybe people don't apply because they don't watch the meetings, they really don't know that there are even vacancies, so maybe that's a way we could help get the word out.
Karen, did you get all those vacancies? Okay, so on next week's announcement, if you could just list all of them.
With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Cable, thank you very much, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. And 9 o'clock in the morning, we should see plenty of snow, so get those cars off the road so the necessary can get out there with the plows, and if you have to drive, please, be careful. The amount of snow they're predicting now is up around 12 to 14 inches, so be careful, please.
but the good news is the Pats won.
Yeah. Take a day off.
Good night, everyone.